Today on the grid, it is How Would I Edit Your Photo Day, where viewers have submitted images and we make fun of them. No, that's not what we do. We take them from beginning to end in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever it takes. Mr. Kuna, out gallivanting, not here today. I'm all by myself on the grid, but it's going to be a fine day. We got some good giveaways, as always, tons of stuff, more than we should, but it all leads to something magical. And that's coming up in just 23.2 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, Scott Kelby here. Welcome to the Grid. No Kuna. It's Kunaless Wednesday. I did wear my Fix Your Freaking White Balance shirt today. But Kuna is out at doing a workshop. He is in, I think, near the Badlands, somewhere out that away, doing a workshop on the Milky Way and shooting the night and all that stuff. So that's where he is. So is he Skyping in? No, he's too in the middle of nowhere to Skype in. So today we are doing How to Edit Your Photo Day. We asked viewers to send in their raw, unedited images, and I'm going to take them through Lightroom and Photoshop or whatever it takes to get us from the start to the finish. And I'll just show you how I would edit your photo. That's what we're doing today. All right, got lots of giveaways today. We always have lots of giveaways. We have a ridiculous amount of giveaways. Here we go. What are we doing? Oh, well, they're over here. First off, we're going to give away a copy of this fine book. How do I do that in Lightroom? I have no idea. But anyway, so this book is for people who already know how to use Lightroom. You already know how to do it. But you're like, I know there's a way to do this particular thing, and you just turn to that page, and it has just that one thing, right? It's like one thing per page. So that's that. Someone's going to win that today. Someone's also going to win my Lightroom Classic Book for Digital Photographers. This starts you from scratch. This is like, I really want to learn Lightroom from the beginning. That's what this book is all about. And I show you my exact workflow and everything. We're also giving away a Platypod Basic. Okay, this is new. We talked about this last week. It just launched. It is this little disc that you see on screen and that you see me holding here that lets you put the Platypod grip on it that holds your phone. So if you don't already have a Platypod or you don't want to put it on your tripod, you can get this little disc for like $10 right now as the introductory price. And it's just this thin little disc, but it's wildly sturdy and very, very lightweight. You just screw your grip onto it, and it creates this wonderful whole iPhone holder thing. We're giving away one of those today because $10 is not too much for us to give away. We're going to give away a V-Flat from the folks at V-Flat World. These things are fantastic. We use them in our own studio. You can use them as so many things. I think V-Flat does a really good job on their site of showing you all the different things that you can do and why one side's white and one side's black and all that stuff. It's terrific. But we're giving that away to someone in the U.S. It's U.S. shipping only. All right, we're also going to give a copy away of On One No Noise 2023 copy, or I guess it's probably the new one, but I'm not sure. It is a noise removal and sharpening tool par excellence. All right, we're also going to give away a copy of Retouch for Me's Mattifier, which basically removes shine and annoying stuff from photos. And it does it brilliantly while keeping all the detail and stuff. The folks at Retouch for Me they're making these AI-based plugins, but they're for high-end retouching. They're for serious retouching. It's not one of those makes your photo look like plastic. Their stuff is really, really well done. So we're giving away one of those today. We're also giving away a 1 year to the Classic Gallery plan for SlickPick. Now, this is for new customers only, so if you're not already with SlickPick, but everybody's with SlickPick, right? So anyway, but they are a wonderful, very, very beautifully designed and run sites expressly for photographers. So that's what it's for photographers. All right, we're giving away all that stuff today to some lucky winner. How do you get a chance to win one of those? Just go in the comments and leave us a comment wherever you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you're watching us on KelbyOne. Wherever you're watching us, just leave us a comment. We're monitoring all of them. But you need to tell us what you want to win. You have to tell us, like, I'd like to win the book, or I want to win the V flat, or whatever it is. Which book do you want? The How Do I Do That book or the Lightroom Classic book? You got to tell us. That way, we send you the right stuff. Okay. What else is going on? As I mentioned, Kuna's out, having fun out west. I am supposed to be in Las Vegas right now. So I was supposed to be right now in Las Vegas on a birthday tour with my wife. My wife's birthday was yesterday, and we were supposed to leave Monday, but the hurricane that hit Florida canceled all of our flights for that day. And the next day, when they finally did start the flights, they were all overbooked to death. So didn't get to go. I haven't been to Vegas since 2019, 2019 for a site inspection for Photoshop World was the last time I was in Las Vegas. I was really looking forward to going. We're going to have dinner last night, one of my favorite restaurants, Mon Ami Gabi, at the Paris Hotel and Resort, and it's one of my favorites. But luckily, we went to one of my wife and my favorites here in Tampa, Ocean Prime, for dinner last night. It was wonderful, but it's not Las Vegas. But that's okay, because that way I got to come and be on the grid today. So next Friday, not this coming Friday, but a week from Friday, I'm leaving for Norway for my Norway travel photography workshop. I'm going to be gone for a whole month, because I'm going to Norway. I'm doing that workshop with Mimo. Then I'm flying to London. I'm going to hang out with some friends in London. My wife's going to meet me over there. And then it is our 35th wedding anniversary. And we are taking a Viking cruise all the way around all of England. So up to Scotland, over to Ireland, all around England, Ireland. And then we're going to end up back in Norway, in Bergen, Norway. And I'm going to be gone for a whole month. So I will miss you all terribly while I'm on the high seas. Anyway, that's what I got. One more thing, Photoshop World is coming up. Photoshop World is coming up next month, and you can register for it right now. Tons of people are. Go to photoshopworld.com. It is 3 days. It's all online. It's super affordable, and you get all of the classes from 3 days and 3 tracks. It is a ton of classes on Photoshop and on Lightroom and on photography and all this stuff. 3 days, 3 tracks, bonus sessions, pre-cons. You get the whole, it's ridiculous. It really is. It's crazy how much stuff there is, and we want you to be a part of it. So go sign up at photoshopworld.com. Do it right now so you don't forget. All right. Got a couple of quick shout-outs. Belinda's here from Broken Arrow, where it's always humid. It sounds kind of like Florida. Claudia is here from sunny Toronto, California. Doug's here from Council Bluffs, Iowa. Cindy's saying hi from Smoked Salmon, Idaho. John's here from Kansas City. Josh is here from D.C. And Tim is here. Tim Oliver, the famous Tim Oliver, is here from a sunny Gilbert, Arizona. It's only 100 degrees today. Break out the sweaters. All right. Well, you guys ready to work on some images? Like I said, we asked people to send in unedited images. So that's the whole idea, is that they are unedited. Now, this first one is going to take a minute. It's a nice photo, but it's going to take a minute. We're supposed to take a break in 6 minutes. Well, I guess we'll just take a break in the middle of it if we need to, right? Or we'll do a late commercial. Really, it doesn't matter. One way or the other. All right, let's take a look at the image on screen. This is where we're starting. Actually, very nice image, right? Very nice lighthouse. But the first thing I do when I'm trying to figure out how to edit a photo is I just ask myself, and this is going to sound silly, but it works like magic. What do I wish were different? Like, what do I wish were different in this photo? If I could fix anything, what would I do? Well, there's definitely some lens distortion. If you look at the lighthouse, it's kind of leaning in towards the house. But then at the same time, the house is kind of leaning in towards the lighthouse. So there's that. The sky is kind of meh. The whole image is, but it's a raw image, right? This is nothing the photographer did. This is just, raw images are flat looking, right? Because there's nothing put on it in the camera. When you shoot in JPEG, Your camera adds sharpening and contrast and color and all this different stuff and noise reduction. It adds all these different stuff to try to make your JPEG look good. When you shoot in RAW, you're telling the camera, turn all that stuff off and just give me the raw, unedited, bland, flat-looking photo. And that's what we have here. So what would I fix? I would at least make the sky, the gradient in the sky, a little more prominent. I would definitely straighten the I would get rid of the lens issues. Part of the fence has got some problems. If you look at part of the fence is leaning back and there's some issues. Those are actually problems with the fence, not with the photo. I think I just do a little bit of cleaning up, and there's one other thing I'll do when I get to it, because I can see something I would absolutely do that I think would really make a big difference in this photo. We're going to start in Lightroom, but we will wind up in Photoshop, because I don't think I'm going to be able to fix all the lens things that I want to fix inside of Lightroom. So this will take a trip to it's definitely going to take a trip to Photoshop anyway, but we're going to start in Lightroom. All right, let's start here. First thing we might do is there is a piece of right here sensor dust right there. We can get rid of that pretty easily. Let's just get rid of the we don't need to use generative fill or anything. I think we can just get rid of this with one click. There we go. Easy enough. So a little center dust, and that's gone. Okay, now I usually get rid of the thing that bothers me the most first, and it is the lens issue. So I'm going to go to the transform panel here in Lightroom, and we're going to click on auto, and let's see what that does. It's better. It's better. Watch. Here's before, and there's after. It's still a little off, but that's way better, because now it looks like the lighthouse is still leaning a little to the left and the house is leaning to the left, but it is, look, it's quite a bit better. But okay, we're going to just leave it at that. I'll fix that when we get over to Photoshop. Let's go ahead and just get a basic read on the photo. Go to the basic panel and just hit auto as our starting place. Oh, before we do, switch your profile to landscape so you get better color. Let's watch. Let's see how what it does. Let's switch to landscape. Yeah, look at that. Just switching from the standard Adobe color to a raw interpretation called Adobe Landscape, and watch the image. Yeah, it immediately looks better. All right, so that was worth doing. Then go click on auto. And auto did a pretty nice job. Look at that. Yeah, and maybe open up the shadows a little more, but actually did a pretty good job. It might be, for the time of night it might be a tad bright. So I might bring the exposure down a little bit and maybe bring the contrast up a hair. Ooh, all right. All right. We're getting there. All right. Is there anything else I need to do here you know what it is? That the roof of the house is a little dark. In fact, the whole house is dark. What about this? Let's go to the masking tool. And let's get this object select tool. It's this one right here. It says objects. And what it is you click on that, and then you can, let's click on it. And then you can say, make sure I hate the paint mode. I like this next mode. So it says select objects. You can either paint over stuff, which takes forever, or draw a selection around it. I always want draw a selection around it. And I'm going to draw a selection around that house. Seriously, that's an amazing tool to me. I think that I'm always stunned at what a great job it does. And let's just open up the shadows on the house a little bit. Like maybe to right there. All right, just kind of open up those shadows a little bit. Maybe open up the whites just a hair. There we go. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, before we leave Lightroom, let's just look at a before and after from where we started. All right, let's just back off a little. So we did help bring it to life, I think, in Lightroom, but I think there's more that we can do. But that's not a bad start, I think, just here in Lightroom. And by the way, to get that side by side that you're seeing here, where you're seeing the before and after side by side, you press the letter Y on your keyboard. Just the letter Y. It just gives you a quick before and after. All right, let's press now. I want to jump over to Photoshop to do the next thing I think is going to really make a difference. Let's press Command E on Mac, Control E on Windows, and boom, it's over in Photoshop. There we are. We are in Photoshop now. All right, here's what I want to do. All right, so I'm going to open up Camera Raw inside of Photoshop. So what Camera Raw as a filter inside of Photoshop is, it's Lightroom's develop module inside of Photoshop. Because I want to use something that is Lightroomy, but I have to do the next part in Photoshop, so I'm just going to do it here. That way I don't have to go back to Lightroom. I could have done this part in Lightroom, but the next part you can't. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the masking tool, just like you do in it's the same stuff. It's the develop module. I'm going to get the brush, and I'm going to paint brighter and in yellow. And I'm going to paint over these windows. So I'm just going to go in here and paint over the windows on the house. Because when we're done, it's going to look a lot better. Now I just picked an arbitrary brightness. That's probably too bright, right? But we won't know till we back off and see. All right, and let's do a little better job there. I'm using a small brush here. Let's go to these windows. This window. That one. This is not my best paint job, but you get the idea. Up here. And I would do these two as well. Oh, that doesn't look very good. That looks white, doesn't look yellow. We can fix that. Let's go and add another one. Let's go adjust. Let's do the brush again. Let's add more yellow, but not as much bright. So I'm just going to, yeah. So I didn't really add any brightness at all. But I am going to do this. I am going to increase the whites. So the whites should generally like control brilliance and like the lights in the house. So I'm going to go to the first mask we created and increase the whites. And I always think of this as like turning on a light switch. See how it's making the lights glow in the house? That's a little dark right there. There we go. Okay, it looks like I missed that. Okay. So let's back off a little so you can see where we're at. Now, I think it's probably the whole thing is a little too bright, right? But, anyway, you get the idea. I think that I'm going to pull the lights down a little bit on this one and maybe on the other one too. Well, I didn't really brighten the second one, just the first one. All right, but I think that certainly looks better with the exception of one thing. Let's go ahead and click OK. Here's the problem. One window didn't have their lights on. So here's what I would do. I would make a rectangular selection around this one that has the lights on. I'm going to put it on its own layer. So it's just the window on its own layer. The keyboard shortcut to do that is Command J on Mac or Control J on Windows. And I would take that window, which is now, look, it's just that window on its own layer. I would take the Move tool and drag it over here. Now you can see it kind of stands out because it's brighter on that side of the house than it was here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the window but erase that area outside. I would do that with a layer mask. So if we make a mistake, it's easy to fix. I'm going to click on the layer mask icon over here at the bottom of the layers panel. I'm going to make black my foreground color. And then I'm going to get the brush tool. So when I paint with the brush tool now, it will erase what's on that layer anywhere I paint. That's not a very good paint job, but you get the idea. You can paint straight lines by doing this. Click once, hold the Shift key, and then click at the other end, and it'll connect the two like that. So click, Shift, and then paint, and it paints a straight line. So now we're getting close there. It's starting to look a little better. And then that top needs to go too. So click once, hold the Shift key, click, and it draws a straight line between the two. And now that window looks about right. And if you wanted to vary it a little, you could lower the opacity so maybe it's not as bright as the other two lights, like that, just so it doesn't look so obvious. But that does look better. Look, before, boo. After, hey, somebody turned the lights on in that room. So that's actually pretty good. Now, you can decide if you want to add anything in here, but the sun probably wouldn't really be hitting over there, but it probably would be lighting in here. So let's go back to the Camera Raw filter. Let's go to the brush tool. Let's add a bunch of yellow over here in the color section. And I think we're going to have to brighten it too. And let's paint. I'm zooming in here. Let's paint over this area. Light that as well. Now it doesn't look like the lights are on, right? And we do that with the whites, right? In the whites that'll turn the lights on. And it might even need a little contrast, a little brighter, and maybe some more. Yeah, maybe that's kind of a it's kind of a little bit of a hack job there. Yeah, it almost looks like it needs to be maybe more orangish too, because I'm looking at the light up here. You know, maybe it needs to be a bit more orangey. Trying to finesse that orange in there. There we go. It's getting there. Add a little more yellow, a little more magenta, and we're getting close. Now, we are getting close here. It's looking better. Wow. It's kind of sloppy, but, you know, you would take more time when you're doing, you know, I have a time schedule today. I have to have the grid done at some point. There's still a lens issue, right? Because the Lighthouse is leaning out and the house looks okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate the layer so you can see this. So I have a duplicate layer. I'm going to go to free transform. And I think this left side needs to be pulled out. Just the bottom needs to be. Well, first off, I think this thing is skewed. I'm going to hold the command key. If you're on Mac, it would be the control key on Windows. And we're going to skew this over like, yeah, see? That should be skewed that way, right? Like kind of straighten down a little bit. I only went 1 degree, but maybe 1.2. And then pull this bottom out a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks better. So I'm going to hit return and lock in that transformation. So watch, and you can see what I was seeing. Watch. See, it was a little funky, right? I think that's better. Oh, yeah, that's way better. All right. We still have more to do to this. Not a tremendous amount. We're getting pretty close. I'm actually pretty happy with where this is right now, but we've got a little bit more work to do. But we're going to do it after the break. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, I'm happy to take your questions. Don't forget to enter the contest by leaving a comment in one of those spots. But if you have any questions about anything that we're doing while we're doing it or about anything else, just pop it in the comments. We'll be right back after this, and we're going to keep working on this image.
All right, when you come back from your trip, you want to have amazing pictures, right? You want to come back and have your friends go, where did you take this? Where did this come from? You want pictures that are going to wow people. And I'm going to show you how to do that in my brand new course called How to Take Travel Photos Like a Pro. We're going to go to the beautiful island of Santorini, Greece, where I'm going to take you through all of the techniques you need to know, what camera gear to take, what to leave at home, what the settings should be. I'm going to give you all of my favorite tricks. We're going to go all over the island. You're going to learn all kinds of stuff, and it's not just about shooting in Santorini. It doesn't matter where you're going. You're going to take these same techniques. You're going to apply them to your travel photography. You're going to get the best travel photos you've ever gotten. So where does this amazing class happen? It's exclusively at KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Hey, I just want to give a little plug for my class that you saw there, how to shoot travel like a pro. So I don't know if you know this, but you can go buy that class. You don't have to subscribe. You can go buy it. It's $29. I also have another class called Where to Shoot in Santorini. So that is, I don't know if you saw, by the way, them talking about Santorini this week. It was in the news on multiple news channels. Reuters had it, CNN had it, a bunch of places, on how crowded Santorini is, and that next year they're going to greatly limit, and it's the cruise ships. The hotels are not at occupancy. The nightclubs and restaurants have space at night because everybody has to be on their ships at night. So it's packed during the day and then it clears out at night. And like we go to restaurants, when we were there, we go to restaurants at night and get into places where there's a 5-minute wait, and you're like, how can this be? Because everybody's already gone back, have to be back on their ships. So they're going to limit it. Right now they're talking about there being 17,000 people per day in Santorini, and next year they're going to limit it to 7,000 on the cruise ships. And they're trying to encourage people to come and stay for a few days and, use the hotels because their hotel occupancy and stuff isn't. Anyway, long story short, I did a class called Where to Shoot in Santorini. I know a lot of people are still going there, so that'll be coming out shortly. And then we have that class also filmed in Santorini called How to Shoot Travel Like a Pro, but it's not based on Santorini. It's just that's where we shot it. I just give you my travel photography tips and all the techniques, my camera settings and all that stuff. Go to KelbyOne.com and you can watch any one of those classes for 29 bones. Or you could join and watch them all. And I highly suggest joining. You know why? Because there's no risk. There's like zero risk. If you get in there and you go, I don't like it, you get your money back. It's like, it's money back guaranteed. So go in there, check it out. You'll love it. You'll love it. And then you'll absolutely learn a ton. Okay. Hey, there's my class right there. That's it right there. So, and everything's broken down into lessons. And we release a new class every week, usually by Thursday morning or Wednesday night. Yeah, see, I have all the different little things there. And okay. Also, I want to say we've got a couple more shout outs. Patricia's here from Colorado. Tina's here from Gresham, Oregon. Diane, hi Diane from San Diego, beautiful San Diego. Hi Diane. Marianne is here. She says, I've learned so much about how to edit my images from watching these edit episodes. Thank you, Marianne. Esther is here from Central California. Robert's here from Tennessee. Go Vols. And Daltonham, the great Daltonham, says, good morning from a very shaky Southern California. That's right. They had some earthquakes there, I think 5 on the Richter scale yesterday. And it's a shaky town. All right. Let's go back to our image already underway. All right, so we just did this change where we kind of fixed that little bit of stuff. All right, I'm going to flatten the image now. So here's what we can do next. There's a couple things that we could do because it's really pretty good right now. I might consider this. You could either A, go and add a gradient to the sky. So you could go and add a linear gradient because there already is it's darker and then it gets lighter going this way, but you could kind of add a darker gradient here and you're just making the sky more interesting and maybe add a little more blue in there. Now, when you do that up here, right, it's making the lighthouse darker. So what you could do is say subtract the lighthouse. And the way you do is you say select subject, and because we clicked on subtract, it will remove the lighthouse from the gradient. So watch, this is pretty cool. Bing. Now, unfortunately, you can see it didn't get what's inside the railing. So you could say add back in the railing, but there's no word for railing. So you're going to use the brush and just go in here and just paint it right back in there. But that works really well. And that way you're not darkening the lighthouse. Okay, so you could do that, and that doesn't look bad at all. Or you're already in Photoshop, you could do sky replacement, depending on how you feel about sky replacement. You could just go in here, choose sky replacement, choose like a sunsetty type of sky, See, that doesn't look bad, does it? There, it does look before and after. That doesn't look bad. And these are the default, sunsets that come with Photoshop. You want to use your own sunset, right? Or you can use one of my sunset packs. That looks, if you're a KelbyOne member, you get those for free. That one's nice. That's a nice one. That's a ooh la la. I don't know about that one. I don't know. That's pretty much what we had. That first one, I think this one's nice, and there was another nice one up. There's a couple of nice ones up here that were. But anyway, you that's an option. I'm going to leave that up to you. We're going to stick with what we got. So the last thing I think we need to really work with here is this fence. I don't know how this is going to work because every time you try generative fill, it is a gamble. Now, I'm going to try this thing first. This is going to be stupid. I'm going to try to select the fence and straighten it. I don't know if there's any chance that this will work. So I'm going to put it up on its own layer so we just have the fence. Right? And then, let me see if I can figure out what you would do. You would need to what? Oh, I didn't mean to hide the rulers. You would need to what? Skew it? Pull it up a little, maybe. I don't know. This might work, but you're going to have to replace the fence, right? I mean, the fence line is messed up. Hey, I think that would actually work. But here's what I would do if I were the person, this was their image, because that's better. That fence is like better. However, here's what I would do. Let's do this right. What you would do is go ahead and select the fence like I did. But then you want to deselect this fence railing in the front, right? You want to deselect that. So I would probably use the polygonal lasso tool because it draws straight lines. Hold the Option key. By holding the Option key, if you're on PC, it's the Alt key. By holding this, what it does, it will remove from that selection. So let's remove this. And this, and that, and this railing, because we don't want to affect this railing, right? Or any of this. We don't want any of that actually selected. And when you get back to where you started, a little circle appears. See, yeah, now we just have fence. Now, that's going to fix one problem. Actually, I have a better idea of what we should have done. Let's just try this, but I have a better idea. If that doesn't work, now let's try this. Oh, it looks like it's going to work. Okay. Move this over here. I think it'll be okay. That's better, right? And you got to do a little cleanup here, right? Because, I mean, there's some stuff still on the background layer. You can see like right in here, like that needs to be fixed. And I think you could probably do that. Is that on the same? Yeah, you could add a layer mask and let's see if I can just paint that away. Yeah, probably enough. And this is kind of messy here. Why is that messy? Oh, I must have done a bad job when I made my selection because I can still see part of the fence here. Yeah, why did that happen? Well, I was thinking of another way of doing this, and that way would be this. You're getting your money's worth on this one today, folks. I would do this. Instead of selecting that fence first, I would select the railing first, this whole railing thing. Well, let's use the right tool. Let's go back to the polygonal tool. I would select this railing. Here's what we're going to do. I think this is going to be the fix. All the way past where we're going to fix. And then this way. I doing this right? No, I want to go up here. Kind of blanked out there. All right, and then here's what we do. We put that part of the fence, that's kind of sloppy, hold on. We put this part of the fence on its own layer in front. So no matter what we do to the fence behind it, it'll be okay. So then, here's what we do. Now we go select the fence again. Let's do that. Hold on, I blew that. Let's go select the fence again. Now, it's going to select the fence posts again unless we hold the Option key and Command and click in here. And you see how it removed the fence from here? So now let's put that up on its own layer. So here's what we have. On one layer, oh, we have nothing. That was smart. Let me undo this. I forgot to go to the background layer. You probably saw that. I wasn't even on the background layer. Now, here's what we have. We have the fence on one layer. We have the fence posts on a separate layer. So then, hopefully, I should be able to go in here and move this around without messing with... There we go. That's the way to do it. Let's go. Fix this fence. What happened there? And do a better job of it than I'm doing. We're getting close now. And then just do a little cleanup. But when I skew this a lot, it starts to really mess up. But maybe something like that. And let's see. Yeah, see how I straightened that fence out? Now, is this make or break it stuff? Probably not. We got to clean this up a little bit. But I don't know about you, but stuff like that drives me crazy. Like the bent fence, that would really, you know. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And it needs more cleaning than I'm doing here. And I think down here, I don't know if that really needs... that one part was driving... And this one post sticking up. Come on. Let me get... I got one post sticking up. That's not very pretty. It is reality, but it's not very pretty. So we're going to cut it off at an angle. Since they're all... Oh, they're angled the other way. Hold on. Sorry. They're angled that way. And we'll get rid of that. We'll just use the clone stamp tool, which just, we're going to pick up this grass over here and move it right over that fence post. And that's better. And you got a little bit of cleanup still to do there, but I think we're in pretty good shape overall. So that would be my finished image there. If I didn't do the sky replacement, I might get rid of this little bush over here. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I would. This little bush over here, I don't think is really helping the image. So I would select this little bush. I would go to Content Aware Fill and see if that'll do it. Not exactly. So Generative Fill, click Generate. If the other one didn't do it, this will. Give it a few seconds. That's better, but we always check the second and third variation. Second variation looks good. Second variation it is. Now, you can see they had a little longer exposure and their flag is flipping. I would probably go find a shot where there is a regular flag and I'd put it in. And there's probably a shot that this person took where the flag is not fluttering. And I would copy and paste from that image and put the flag in. Now, let's go look at the original. So the original was back here, but let's hit reset. All right, now we'll take it over to Photoshop so we can see. All right, so let's copy and paste. So there's the finished one, and there's the before. So you can see how we straightened it up. We turned on the lights in the house. We fixed the fence. Stuff like that. But it is very typical. Oh, and Susan's making a good point. She says it's always fun to follow the thought process by trying different techniques. Yeah, and that's the way it often is. You'll try something and it doesn't work, but no one's watching, so it doesn't matter. But when I'm doing it today and I make a mistake, I'm like, that doesn't look very good. I just do it over. But that's the way it really happens. In real life, you don't always know exactly what to do or exactly how it's going to come out, and you have to kind of futz with it, which is what we did with that fence, and we got the fence looking okay. I think in reality, I would probably spend a little more time and get that fence really nicely done. But otherwise, I think it's pretty good. We got rid of the dust. We got the sky looking nice. We haven't sharpened the image. I think we would absolutely sharpen it. I sharpen using Topaz Sharpen AI, which is a wonderful, amazing plugin that uses AI to determine, looks at the photo, tells you what kind of sharpening it wants to apply, and you just click apply. That's it. That's how I do my sharpening now, and it works really, really well. And that would be, looks like the finished image, which I think looks pretty nice. I'm particularly happy with the window, the lights in the house, right? The lights in the house. They might even be a tad bright. If you thought it was a tad bright, here's what you could do. Duplicate the layer, go to multiply mode, and then maybe lower it to where you think the lights should be. Then we're going to hide the multiply layer. So hold Option and click on the layer mask, right? So the darker version of these windows is hidden behind a black mask. If it's in black, you would paint in white. And then you could paint the darker windows in. Let's do that. And it paints the darker version of the window so they're not quite so bright. And it just takes a few seconds. Probably brush is a little too big, but you get the idea. Oh, those top windows don't look as good. All right, but you get the idea. All right, that's our first one. So is it really break time again? Holy cow. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We have some more images that we're going to go through here after the break. And we got a couple more shout outs, and we'll see you on the other side where I'm going to start on a new image.
Hi, I'm Richard Burnaby, and welcome to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'm excited to show you some of my favorite places, including Cades Cove, Klingman's Dome, the Foothills Parkway, sunrises, sunsets, rivers, waterfalls, all my favorite places, how I shoot them, and some of my favorite techniques. So come join me on my latest KelbyOne class.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we're back. Warren's here from wet New Jersey. Patrick's here from Northwest Florida, and Holly is from Morton, Montana. Wait, it's MN. It's not Minnesota, is it? Where is Morton? MN. I never use that abbreviation, so it's either, I'm going to say it's Montana. I don't know. Could be Minnesota. Anyway, Lou is here from Wake Forest, and Holly, tell us where you're at. Tell us what state MN is. It's not New Mexico. Get it? No. Morton is in Minnesota. It is Morton, Minnesota. Ron just brought that up, so you don't even have to worry, Holly. We got you. Minnesota. Great. Love Minnesota. All right. Ready for the next image? Here we go. Completely different. Got a landscape photo here taken in very, very harsh light. So here's the first thing that I think of when I see this photo is it's taken in really bad light. So how am I going to get the best picture out of it taken in bad light? The first thing is to underexpose. Now, I will generally underexpose in camera when I know that this is the case. But here, let's switch to landscape. Let's hit auto. That's already looking better, but I would go and underexpose quite a bit. Then bring up the whites, lower the blacks a little bit. See, even right there, just those couple little changes have made a big difference. The lighting doesn't look so harsh, right? And it is harsh lighting, but it doesn't look as bad. Let's hit the sky, because the sky is, way overexposed. So let's go to the masking tool. Let's select the sky, and let's lower the exposure of the sky. And just that alone makes a big difference. Now, I'm also going to bring up the whites in the sky so the clouds don't start to look too dark. But our balance is much better here now. This actually is looking pretty good. A couple of things also I would do. Let's add a little bit of texture. Bring out the detail. And I'm going to go down to dehaze. And I'm going to add a pinch of dehaze. Dehaze works really, really well. It's just another form of contrast. Get a little bit of dehaze, and then, ready? We're going to go to effects. We're going to add a little bit of vignetting on the outside edge. Just maybe to right there, like -11, right there. Now, it doesn't seem like we did that much, but watch what it does. Watch. There's before, and there's after. You wouldn't even really notice that there's a vignette there. Now that you know that there's one, you see it, but it just kind of helps take some of the heat off the edges. And this is kind of funky here, but there's not much we can do. I mean, you could use generative fill to fill that in. But I think actually that's a pretty easy edit. I think it looks pretty decent. So take a look at the one on the left. Here, I'll make it a little bigger by closing this panel. There we go. And I wonder if I can hit fit. There we go. That's better. Now you can see it a little bit better. And basically what we did here is underexpose the image, right? Underexpose it, which is typical for a daytime landscape. We darkened the sky a lot. So look how light the sky was on the left. So we darkened the sky a lot, but we added some whites in so the clouds don't get funky. And now, just for giggles, I don't know if this is going to work, because you never know with generative fill what's going to work. Let's jump over to Photoshop. You just never know. It's always it's a gamble. What if we selected all of this here and went to generative fill? You don't type anything in. You just hit generate. That's telling Photoshop, I want this to go away. And let's see what it does, because it could be brilliant or it could be trash. We don't know. You don't know until you try. Woo! That's pretty good. But go for number 2 and number 3. I almost think number 3 but I would get rid of that little junk right there. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this, and I'm going to hold the shift key and just that. And while I'm here, I think I might take that one too. Then hit generative fill again, hit generate, don't type anything in there. Don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound. That's not bad, but always check number 2 and number 3. I would say number 3 is probably the winner, but I would actually do this. So let me show you the difference. There's where we started. There's generative fill. I think I would bridge that little gap. In other words, I would flatten the image. And then I would go to the clone stamp tool. And I would paint a little of maybe this right in there. So you don't have that gap between the two. Maybe even just bring a little of this over here like that. Something like that. Just kind of fill it in a little bit. So I think that looks a lot better. Looks just cleaning that up. The whole image looks pretty decent, actually. Yeah, not bad, right? Not crazy about this area over here. Oh, okay. Here's what we could do. See if this works. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see. Let's get the linear gradient tool. Go to masking, linear gradient, because this area is just not pretty. What if we did this? Darken the exposure and drag this way. There we go. Just to darken that area, I would pull back the highlights a little bit more. Maybe the exposure, just so you don't really notice that as much. So let's look at the difference. See how it was brighter and we just darkened it up a little so that way it doesn't draw your eye. So there we go. See, something like that just kind of balances it out. And lastly, if you wanted to, and this is a roll of the dice, let's go and get the masking tool. Let's go create new mask. Let's add a brush. And I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to add a big brush. It's going to look stupid at first, and we're going to add little hits of light. Oh, that's too big. Hold on. My brush was way too big. Brush. We're going to increase the exposure. We're going to add little hits of light in various spots in the image. It's nice to put them where there's already kind of natural highlights, just to make the light more interesting. And maybe down here and over there. And then you lower it to where it looks more natural. And you can see, here's what it looks like. Just makes the light a little more interesting. Now, you and I know that it's there, so it's very obvious to us. But if I open the image like this, you would never think, oh, someone went and added highlights. So that's a consideration to do for that one. All right. So that's that one. And sharpening. Just don't forget to sharpen. And it's sharpened the heck out of that. And there we go. Now it's nice and crisp. There's your final image. Looking pretty good. And you know where we started. Let's go get the starting image, which was right here. So we'll throw that in Photoshop, and then we'll do before and after. So there's the before, and there's the after. Nice image, though, so good job. Looks like the photographer's name is Jeff because it says Jeff up there. It's not blind critique, so it's okay to say the name. All right, give me a second. Let's look at another one here. This one looks interesting. How about this one? I think it's a nice photo. I think it's crooked, but it's a nice photo. So let's start from the beginning. Let's go to Adobe Landscape. That's already better. Go to Auto. That's nice. Then let's go to Transform. And there's a slider called just simply Rotate. And I love this slider. Just kind of get it a little more straight. Somewhere in there. And then you're going to click this checkbox. Constrain crop to get rid of those little white areas on the edges that happen from the rotation. Voila. All right, that's already looking better. We probably could do something with this sky. Maybe just go to masking, go to linear gradient, and drag it down a little bit from the top, and then darken that part of the sky. And let's add a little more yellow, whoops, and magenta in there, just to make it a little more interesting. I don't know if that works. I might go more towards blue. Hold on, that's going to be purple. Yeah, go more towards blue. And then bring up the whites a little. This is looking pretty good. This is an easy one. I would add the edge vignette. Let's go down to vignette and add a very slight vignette. Like that. Now watch. I'm going to turn it on and turn it off. Watch. See, you wouldn't really notice, but I think it does a nice job on that. And I think maybe if you really want to bring out some more detail, some more color, let's go to contrast and increase that a bit. You can make it a little more contrasty. And let's do it before and after before we go any further. So really, there wasn't a lot to do, straighten it out, add that gradient to the sky, and just really bring in some contrast. Now you could go texture and a little bit of clarity. Clarity will make the water shiny, and maybe a little bit of dehaze. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Now it might be, maybe you can bring the exposure up just a hair. Because clarity kind of does darken it a little bit. It's adding mid-tone contrast, so it kind of darkens the image. Now, there's one thing I would do if it were me, and this is how I edit your photo. I don't like this thing right in the sunset. Not crazy about these, or this one, or this one. But if I remove them, I would want to leave 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to leave 5. I want to leave an odd number of objects. All right. Hey, by the way, Tim is asking, do you ever use the tone curve and in what situations? Not really. I used to live in curves. I don't anymore. And I talk to a lot of photographers, and they're just like, yeah, I don't really use the tone curve. So, Tim, to answer my question, do I ever use it? Not really. And in what situations? Rarely. I don't really. It's not like I never use it, but I would have to have a very, I don't know why. All right, now, my friend Paul is calling me in the middle of the show. And he knows I'm on the show because I talked to him on the way here. So I was thinking I would get it because Paul might be saying, oh, you should do this or you should do that, but he hung up. Maybe he realized, oh, he's still on the show. All right. So now, there is a new tool in Lightroom, and it's called the, it's not the new tool. It's a new feature. Go to masking. No, I'm sorry. Don't go to masking. You're going to go right here to the eraser tool. Go to the eraser tool. Click on the very first one, which is the eraser. But then there is Generative AI. So what you can do is click on it, and it will use the generative fill from Photoshop over here in Lightroom. Paint over the thing you want to get rid of, which in my case, it would be this. Hit apply and wait. Let's wait, shall we? 12 seconds. Look at that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it actually put a sun in there. Now, there's 3 choices, right? There's this little thing that says variations. You get 3 choices just like in Photoshop. Let's try the second choice. Big sun. Third choice, Little baby son. Let me look. I think I might go with number 3. Now, if you don't like any of them, you can hit refresh and it will do it again. It will try another 3. Now, I'm okay with that actually, but I don't want this one, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of that. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want an odd number. It's a compositional thing. Hit apply. Wait 12 seconds. Hopefully it gets rid of those little outliers. And I think that we have a pretty good shot. Lynette wrote in the comments, amazing transformation. Yeah, it is incredible what Lightroom and Photoshop can do today. So easily compared to what we used to have to do. Oh, that cleaned it up quite nicely, I think. Let's look at our variations. Number 2, about the same. Number 3, about the same. I'm fine with number 1. All right. So let's look at them side by side. Oh, there really wasn't a sun back there, but there is now. So there we go. Really nice picture to begin with. And can I tell you something? Do you know how hard it is to get a good looking shot of dead trees? But they did it. It happens everywhere once in a while. I think this is a very nice shot of dead trees. On a beautiful sunset, there's more to it than just a dead tree. But it's also a nice composition. I love the reflection in the water. Now, that brings up an interesting thing. The reflection in the water does not look blue. Oh, let's go fix that. Well, here, this is an easy fix, I think. Go to masking. Go to the brush. Let's add some blue in. Let's paint with blue over that. I might have done too much blue. There we go, something like that. Yeah, that reflection didn't look very realistic. All right, there we go. I think we're good now. All right, it's time for another break as best as I can tell because it says break time on my screen. So let's take a break. We probably got a time for one more short one. I know which one I think we can try. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to look at another image on how would I edit your photo day. Let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is Mimo Meidani, a long exposure black and white photographer based in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Today, I'm gonna take you through the journey, 7 years journey of my photography experience. I will show you all about compositions, the secret I follow, and the experience and the journey I went through. I got the shortcut for you today. I found a way to practice and learn about compositions. We are going to talk about lines. We are talking about contrast. We're talking about frame within a frame. And we are going to talk about negative space to enhance your composition and enhance overall your photography. So please come and join me on my latest class exclusively at KelbyOne.com.
I am a portrait and wedding photographer based in Valencia, Spain.
I do mainly commercial and editorial photography, and I retouch up to 100 photos a month.
We shoot almost every day for all kinds of clients, such as commercial, beauty, and fashion. And we retouch our work more often, like every other day.
I used to spend over 1 hour for one photo.
If we want professional results, we must remove skin blemishes, do micro dodge and burn, highlight eyes, whiten teeth, and even reduce wrinkles in clothes. And this can easily take me up to 2 hours of work for each photo.
So when I saw that there's a plugin for Photoshop that helps you retouch quicker, I was eager to get my hands on it.
I read many feedbacks about it, and I found a lot of positive reviews, which made me to consider buying my first plugin.
One of the challenges we have at the end of a session or wedding is to achieve an edition in our photograph that look natural. This is where retouch for me has become a game changer.
I love the feature that you can pick how much effect it has on your photo, and you can adjust it accordingly to your style.
I saved a lot of time and always end up having amazing result with my work.
I am extremely happy with the quality.
Now, I am more efficient and have more time to spare with my family.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
All right, I think we're going to do two images because they're pretty easy. We can get them quick. Tracy says, I love the before and after. Even small adjustments can make a big difference in the overall impact of the photo. Isn't that true, Tracy? It's so true how you'll do a little thing and all of a sudden you're like, wow, right? I think one of those things, Tracy, to keep in mind is dehaze. I think we think of using dehaze when it's hazy, but dehaze is just another form of contrast, and I think it works really well in a lot of situations. But the little things like changing from color to landscape, right? Some of those little things that you do, adding whites to bring out the brilliance of the photo. Some of those things really make, Tracy's right on the money. It is the small adjustments, how they add up. And you notice it's not one thing. Like, it's not one big thing. It's like, we did this little thing, this, and then you look at the before and after, like what Tracy's saying, and you go, wow, that really made a big difference. It wasn't a bunch of big things, it was a bunch of little things. Let's take a look at the image we have on screen. Great shot, great peak moment of action. We always talk about that. Here you got the guy upended. I love the guy on the ground because of his reaction. But here's what we would do. Step one is to crop it in tight. We don't need this guy really. We don't need all of him. I would just, the action is happening over here and right here. I think this guy kind of adds to it, so I'm going to leave that. Do we have his arm in? Oh no, we were cutting off part of his hand. We don't want that right there. So that brings us closer to the action, which is what in sports photography we really want. Now, the background is brighter than the foreground by quite a bit. It's also a little crooked. Let's fix that first. Let's go to transform and let's go rotate. Yeah, just like right there and hit constrain crop. It was just a little crooked, nothing major. That happens a lot when you're shooting sports. The background concerns me. Can we get the background? Select background. Let's see. I don't know what it's going to select for background. Oh, did pretty good. I don't think that the field here is really background, but let's just darken the whole thing. Just darken the exposure of the background. That's not bad. I think it's okay. A little more. All right, let's look at what that did. Watch. See how bright that was? Now you're putting the focus on the players, right? I might have gone a little too far with that exposure. All right. Now, the story is happening right in here. He's holding onto the ball. His eyes are closed like I'm about to clonk my head. So we want to see a little bit more of him. Let's go add a new mask with the brush. Let's go to shadows and maybe a little exposure and open up him. He's got a black jersey on. That makes it harder to see. And I might have to add a little contrast so it doesn't look washed out. There we go. So that's a little better. Let's look at that. Yeah, it brought him out a little bit. Maybe a little more. I don't want it to look washed out. You have to be careful when you're doing that on like a black jersey. It can literally look washed out. And then if you're not doing this for a newspaper or a magazine, then I would go and add a vignette. I'd go to effects and add a little vignette on the outside edges, maybe something like right there, and just look at just that. See how it takes the heat off the edges and focuses you back in? Then, while you're in effects, not in effects, it's up in basic here, add texture to bring out the detail, to bring out the little bits of sweat and stuff flying. Maybe a tiny bit of clarity. I mean a tiny bit. to make the metal on his helmet shiny and stuff. Now it looks like he has a matte finish on his helmet. That's looking pretty good, I think. I don't know if there's anything else left to do here. That's pretty good. Now, if this was just for me, or I'm selling it to the player's mom, or it's not reportage, I would get rid of this player altogether over here. He would just be gone. And you probably do it with the eraser. I'm not sure. But that's if it's not, you're not covering this for any kind of media. And don't forget to take the shadow too. I don't know if this is even going to work, because this will be the biggest thing I've ever tried to remove in Lightroom's version of Generative Fill. Let's just see. I don't know. Let's get rid of that too. Let's just see. Apply, and we'll wait our 12 seconds. Could be a disaster. This will be the biggest thing I've removed, but you'll see that did not do well at all. Yeah, instead of removing the player, it gave you different players. Let's not do that at all. Let's reset. Just leave him there. All right. Outside of that and sharpening, I think you got a winner. All right. Let's look at one more image. So, hey, before we do that, let me give you our winners from today, because we got lots of winners. The How Do I Do That in Lightroom book is going to Ernie. I don't know what's happening to my voice today. I think I'm probably talking too loud since I have a mic in front of me. Ernie, you got that book. Ernie Standard. Lightroom Classics going to Nanette. Standard, not Standard, but Standard. Platypod Basic plate is going to Tom. Hey, Tom. V-Flat's going to Belinda Krause. Congratulations, Belinda. You're going to love that. The On One No Noise is going to Barry Morris. Retouch for Me Mattifier, you're going to love this. Sharon Sharp got that one. And the Slick Pick 1-year gallery plan for your portfolio is going to Karen Suter Grillion. So congratulations to everybody that won. How do you get your prize? You're going to send us an email to gridprize@kelbyone.com. You're going to send it by this Friday to claim your prize. We're going to verify that you're you, and you're going to send us either an email address or a shipping address. Or like for the V-Flat, you need to ship it. The Platypod Basic, Tom, you're going to need to send us your shipping address. We'll get that stuff out to you. All right, one more image. It's an easy one. Let's go to this one. Now, it's shot at 200 millimeter. And I think we want it to be tighter, right? This is a classic aviation shot of the Thunderbirds. Let's crop it in tight. I would probably go in like that. Now, this has to got a lot of, I'm guessing this was shot on like some high megapixel camera, because we cropped way in and it still looks nice. Still looks nice and sharp. And I would maybe bring out a little bit of the shadows just in here. In fact, you might have to do that manual, but actually it looks okay. Pull back the highlights a little bit. Add some texture, a little bit of clarity. I think you're done. And we didn't do a whole lot. Well, that's not the before. Maybe I need to go back to history. And let's go copy this to the before. Let's see if that does it. No, it's still not doing it. Oh, I guess that is a before, because you can see the highlights are lower here. That was kind of bright in here. It's showing, it's not showing the crop before, is what it's not doing. But this was an easy one. This one's pretty good, really. Let's hit auto and see what auto does. See, auto makes it too bright. I like the blue better from auto. But yeah, I think that was very easy because it was a good looking shot from the beginning. I just think the whites were kind of blowing out a bit, which that's always hard with the Thunderbirds. Much easier with the Blue Angels, that's for sure. All right. Well, folks, there you have it for this fun episode of The Grid. Thank you to everybody that of course, we didn't get to everybody's. There's a number of people that sent in lots of images for us to look at in raw format, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much for sending those. Next week, will I be here? Yes, it is the day before I leave for Norway, so I should be here next week. And Mr. Kuna, I feel like he'll be here, but you never know. It's interesting about Mr. Kuna. He gets 270 days of vacation, apparently, per year. So you never know where he'll be. But I'm just hassling him. Let me tell you, every day that Eric gets a vacation, he has earned. That is one hard-working son of a gun. In fact, half the time when he's on vacation, he's still working. He's a crazy guy. Anyway, thank you to our sponsors. And guess what? Today's jib work brought to you by Dobson. Pretty good today, I got to say. It's good if we don't mention it. If we don't mention it. Now, the fact that Juan is in the building does have I had said such nice things, and look what happened. Anyway, thanks to our crew. Thanks to Ron and everybody in the house. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you guys. Catch you next Wednesday right here on a fine day on The Grid. Take care, everybody.